All right, we're going to zip through these really quick. I flew back for a Missouri game the other day. What the hell has happened to the Kansas City airport? I didn't recognize the place.
It was probably the worst airport in North America. Before that, it was Indianapolis, and Indianapolis built this beautiful new airport. The Kansas City people had heard enough, and they got the word out there, and they built this airport. And I think it's as nice an airport as you can attest, John, in the United States for the size. It's almost too nice for what we had. That was patterned after the Dallas airport with the half moon terminals. This one is an upside down H and is beautiful. It's much like Indy. It's a joy to go through there.
Yeah, I got off and I texted my friends. I'm like, I think I got on the wrong plane. I don't know where I am. Give me the most athletic of you or your siblings.
My brother was on a state championship. My younger brother's on a state championship football team at Promontory, now Notre Dame Academy. He was a starting linebacker. They won a state championship in football. So I'd probably have to say my younger brother is now an agent. He's the Harbaugh's agent, and he's the agent for Urban Meyer. Has about 60 NFL and college coaches and coordinators, and so he probably was our big athlete in our family.
All right, we talked about Notre Dame Promontory. What was it before it was Notre Dame and before it was Promontory?
It was called Central Catholic.
Correct, Central Catholic. Wow. Favorite Packer as a kid?
I've got a couple here. Larry Hefner, who was a backup linebacker. John Brockington, who was a running back. Kenny Payne, wore number 85, was a rascal. We loved him. Dickey. Jack Kincannon, MacArthur Lane. Like, all these guys were so nice, so kind to us. Mm-hmm. I don't know that I could pick one, but Jim Carter, the middle linebacker, he was great. Some of the Willie Buchanan, Jim Hill, who we both know is in the business.
Yeah, in LA.
I see Jim Hill 5 times a year because we go to LA for the TNT NBA games, and he's always covering the Lakers. He could not be a nicer man. And I was a ball boy when he was a Packer starting safety. So I could go on and on. They were all nice. They were all nice.
It was him, Kenny Ellis, Al Matthews, and why can't I think of the other? Willie Buchanan. Yeah. We had A.J. Dillon on, and I had to inform him he was only the second best number 28 ever on the Packers when he came through. And Brockington and MacArthur Lane, what a backfield! 72 division champs, Trevor. 72. This is strictly vanity because I want to hear it because this is what my buddies and I used to love to listen to you do. Just tell me what the Chiefs are wearing at home on the radio.
They've got their bright red jerseys and their white pants and their helmets glistening under the lights of Arrowhead Stadium on this rainy November night with the wind blowing in the face. Here now comes Bill Kenny under center with the first down and 10.
There you go. And don't forget, we've got gold outlines on the white numerals.
We do. The gold trim, yes.
Who is Roy Smits?
Roy Smits was the basketball coach when I started broadcasting the Promontory Cadets when I was a sophomore. And he was a kind, wonderful man to me, had great players. Do you remember Greg Knaffel, by the way?
Yeah.
Greg Knaffel was recruited by Notre Dame to play football and by Bobby Knight at Indiana and by Joe B. Hall at Kentucky to play basketball. Greatest high school athlete I ever saw. Got to call his games. He probably is laughing that we even come up with his name. But being Green Bay guys, that's what it is. And but Roy, and he played for Roy Smits. And they were Fox Valley Christian Conference champions, and he was the guy that led them. He was a great high school coach.
So that was an acceptable answer, or my friend Mike Smith's dad. Either one of those would have been acceptable. Who's the only KU basketball coach with a losing record?
Well, was it Naismith or was it James Naismith?
Dr. James Naismith, the guy who invented the game, is the only guy.
Invented the game of basketball. That's right.
But apparently couldn't coach it a lick. What does calling?
Smith was on those Kansas teams, by the way, that Fog Allen coached.
Yes.
You're the great North Carolina coach. Yeah.
What is calling a 14th straight Super Bowl going to mean to you in February?
What the other previous 13 meant is that I'm in a seat that was held by the legends of this business: Jack Buck, Marv Albert, Don Crickey, Lindsey Nelson, Jim Simpson, and those are voices that I hear in my head, and I think about them putting on that headset to call Super Bowls to a huge audience, and the responsibility that is there. It's a pretty emotional moment, actually, when I get in that seat and that game is there and they're playing the national anthem, and I think of each of them that broadcast this game. And there are only two people broadcasting the NFL Super Bowl every year. And I'm lucky enough to be one of them. And doing 14 in a row will be as precious as the first. And I've been lucky, as my friends have made me aware, no one has broadcast more in a row than me, radio or TV. I think the longest was 11 straight, and I'm sorry, 9 straight by Jack Buck. He did 8, and then they missed a couple of years. Then he did 9 in a row. So 9 was the continuous broadcasting every year of the Super Bowl. And the record, he did 8. He did 17 years of play-by-play of the Super Bowl. Buck did, Jack, and so being at 14, I guess, puts me another closer. No one's in it in the business for those kinds of things, but my friends have made me aware, since Buck is a voice that I grew up listening to in St. Louis, and very important to me as a kind of a mentor from a distance. And by the way, Jack Buck has been as nice to my dad and to me as anybody in this business. He was a wonderful man. And of course, Joe and I are friends going back to our days at Fox. And so I see a lot of Jack and Joe, actually. I see a lot of his dad and him. And I think about Jack Buck and what he did and being in that chair on those Super Bowl Sundays a lot.
It's one of the common things that we do at ESPN in the newsroom. It'll be do Jack Buck, 3rd and 10. It's a sure passing down, handoff to Okoye, loss of 2. What happened there, Hank?
Sometimes he would delay the call and make Hank look good. He would say, "Hank, what do you see here? You're looking to the right. All right, here's the handoff, and it's to the right, Hank, just like you said."
Oh, okay. 2 more real quick. If you gave Reggie Miller 10 open threes, how many would he make today?
10. He shoots. He told me that on off days he would shoot 500 and have to make 500 threes when he played, and that on off days he would shoot well over 1,000, and he'd say, "I have to make at least 900 of them." I mean, there's a reason why Ray Allen and Reggie Miller and now Steph, what they are, because they practice. I mean, that's it. Like with all of us, the more you do it, the better you are. And they practiced incessantly.
And the last thing, and I have no idea what we're doing. I don't know if we're going to dinner or doing a broadcast. I have no idea. I just want to know, Joe Namath or Trent Green?
Joe Namath is the first person at the network level I worked with at NBC. My first NFL NBC game was with Joe Namath. Not a kinder man. Trent Green is a Kansas Cityan and has become a very good friend, as has Rich Gannon, who I worked with for 7 years. All these guys, they become friends. They become, John, Trevor, they're people you work with, but they become friends. And I've been lucky enough to work with nice people. Doc Rivers, worked with him. Doug Collins, worked with Doug Collins for 7 years at TNT. I love all these people. Reggie Miller I've worked with for all these years. These have become friends. I would hope that they would both come and I'd buy.